In the beginning was the word, spoken word. I'm your host, Tasha Jones, for In the Beginning Spoken Word podcast. And today we have with us the extraordinary wordsmith, the master of putting together words and sound. Give it up one time for Ed Mabrey. Yeah.
Hey, how we doing? How we doing?
How are you doing today, King?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. Got some tea, so no complaints.
And that's what's up. That's what's up. I have been talking to you for the last couple of weeks in regarding your work, what's going on with you, and I couldn't wait to share your story with our podcast. But I've known you for quite some time. You've been getting down for a long time, and you've been at the top of your game for a long time. Ooh, that's hard to do, right? Like that is hard to do. So let's just start in with like your origin story. What was the first poem you ever performed, the first poem you ever wrote? How did it shape your journey as a spoken word artist?
Oh wow. That's good. The first poem I ever performed was probably Paul Laurence Dunbar's Little Brown Baby. Um,
Mm.
back in oh god, that'd have been fourth grade, maybe, for a speech contest. That'd have been the first thing I ever performed that I can remember that didn't involve like something at church, like an actual I'm gonna get up and spit this poem. Um,
Yeah.
so that was the first poem I performed. The
Let
first
me let me ask you a
yeah,
question. Did that was for a speech that I mean,
mhm.
like, why did your teacher say, no, you have to recite poems, you have to do something with that voice? Like, what? I mean, like, what? Give me some more. That's not
The
enough.
voice the voice hadn't kicked in. The voice was maybe about a year away from scaring everybody when you're that young. But it was Miss Harmon was her
Mm.
name. She was the English teacher, a black woman English teacher at Hickorydale Elementary School in Dayton, Ohio, which no longer exists.
Come on. Come
Um,
on, knowing the whole teacher in the school.
yeah, because she gifted me. Well, so I can't remember what the book was, but she gifted me a book after winning it with a very nice inscription. I wish to God I still had it. I have to
Mm.
ask my mom if she still has it. Um, and I want to say it wasn't a complete book, like it might have been like a part of a encyclopedia or something in my mind. It wasn't like a complete work.
Hmm.
But the work that I rehearsed for this contest um, was Little Brown Baby, which now I'm thinking about it is a very unfair thing to ask a fourth grader to do. So I don't know. I don't think I picked it myself because it's that's you're talking Negro dialect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a very specific, or they would call it slave narrative dialect, but the Negro dialect, uh, in terms of trying to decide the right way to say it, the way the syntax is, the way the spelling is,
Hmm.
so over is over, but it's O
Hmm.
apostrophe ER and
Hmm.
or it's
Hmm.
over, and okay, actually it's
That's right.
over, so it's gonna be OVUH, sus SUH, things like that. With is WIF, you know. Um,
So,
so I remember
go ahead.
being taught to have to say it that way for the contest, which is funny because your mom's telling you the whole time to be articulate, and then you do this contest, she's like, no, 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 drop them R's and drop them U's, like make up your
Yeah.
mind, yeah,
Relax that tongue. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first one I performed. I remember being super nervous, but really enjoying it. I remember like snippets of it, but not the whole thing anymore.
Mm.
Which is fine. I need to go back and read. I don't think I've even read it since I was a kid. Now, the
Wow.
first poem Jesus, first poem I shared of my personal work. We're gonna skip over the junior high and high school notes. Like, I don't know how they do it now. Technology's changed. You can just text it, Snapchat, whatever. But back in the day, you had to write a note, and you had to have one of the girls in school. Usually, not to be sexist, just usually the person who taught you was one of the young ladies in school. Taught you how to fold it, and these
Okay.
were it was like little hand bombs, little grenades.
Exactly.
Yeah, they folded up to where like you just pull one little piece and it would, origami out and explode. Um, yeah, so you write your little sweet poem and you passed the note in class. I'm sure somewhere in there was some, your
Mm.
eyes are like chocolate, or I like your booty, or I don't know, whatever, like whatever I was saying in that
That I like
uh
your movie.
like seventh, eighth, ninth grade, phase. But I wrote a poem to my high school sweetheart Marika Jones on the back of
For
a
knowing
tray
the
liner.
names.
Yeah, on the back of a tray liner at a Rax, which is like a weird version of a Subway because people don't know what the hell a Rax is. Um, I wrote on the back of that, and then when I was in the Navy, um,
Mm.
guys would pay me to write their girls poems.
That's what's
Um,
up.
I wrote one to someone. I don't remember who. She wasn't my girlfriend. I just wrote one, and
Yeah.
one of the cats took it from me out the bunk, out the rack, and he's reading it, and he's walking down the hallway, of the barracks, and I'm getting clowned for it. Like, you writing a poem to your girl, and then 2, 3 o'clock that morning, I'm getting shaken awake. Hey, dog, write one for me. Like, I'm not writing you a love poem. No, 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 for my girl, man. Write one for my girl. And then they go like, back to the bed. Someone shake me 10 minutes later. Hey, yo, dog, like, I need one of them poems by tomorrow. What the hell? And like the whole night, I remember like the entire night,
They
uh,
checking you down.
people like asking me to write their girls' poems. So I started charging for them.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I had my own little business in, in boot camp. Shout out to Chicago Great Lakes, which was funny. Also, my apologies because out there, there's a whole bunch of ladies who got the same damn poems because I was not that deep with the pen. So yeah, where you live? Oh, you don't live the same place he lived. His girl lives somewhere different. So, dear Tarita, just raise dear Sarita, dear Taekwonda, just hello Karen, like whatever the name was. Swap out the name, swap out some of the location, the color of the eyes, the hair. That became the thing, like the location, the color of the eyes, the hair, um, something they like to hear, favorite song or color. Yeah, so somewhere out there, there's two women that got the same damn letter on positive. So I apologize,
Wow.
but you're happily married, and had a long ass marriage. So y'all doing good.
It's a couple things I learned about you just that quickly, right? I never knew that you served in our military, so
Mhm.
thank you for your service. I really appreciate that. I have a respect for people who can do that work, right? Like, and so I really appreciate your service and thank you for that. And this sense of how beautiful your memory is and how you are not forgetting people and teachers and places that really have impacted you. That's what's up. I
What's funny
appreciate
is I
that.
do forget people. I forget stuff all the time. My memory's terrible. I'm one of them
Mm,
trigger memory people. If you say a thing, it'll
mm-hmm,
come like as soon as you said
mm.
first. I remember the poetry contest as a kid, speech contest. But if you hadn't said that, but as soon as you say that, I remember that. Then I remember Miss Harmon. Then I remember the book. I
That's
can
what's
remember
up.
where we performed it at in the school, the room we performed it in. And my mom made me
Wow.
dress nice that day, like church clothes, to do it. But yeah, if you don't mention it, it'd be
Yeah,
gone, just gone. Yeah,
yeah. I
because
remember
everybody normally
those
has
days.
that story of some uh, teacher who like really impacted their life. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if it wasn't from so and so, I'd have been a different path. Yeah, and mine was actually it wasn't Miss Harmon. Miss Harmon was very nice to me, and I remember that moment, and she really believed in me. Um, but like my teacher person was an old white hippie
Mm,
who like I think probably smoked weed in his car on lunch break. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Mr. Rafferty was my marketing teacher in high school,
mm,
and he was one of those. I got some money, but I don't believe in like he was an anti the man, even though he was
mm.
aware that he was the man, kind of thing.
That part.
So yeah, so his way of being revolutionary was I'm gonna teach marketing at this school, and then the ones who show interest or show abilities, I'm going to show them that there's a world bigger than the hood we live.
Mm,
Um, yeah, he there's a thing called DECA,
yeah.
Distributive Education Clubs of America. Don't ask me how I
Yeah,
remember that. See, I was
I
in
was
that.
in that too.
Yeah, so they had contests, right?
Hmm.
So at the time, because we talk about poetry, someone always wants to know what you can do beforehand. Yeah, I was gonna be a fashion merchandiser.
Come on with that.
That was the goal. Don't ask because, of course, for everyone who watches later wants to judge my life. Well, one, you can kiss my ass, but two, at the time, shopping malls were still a very important part of America, right?
Right.
Like the shopping mall was everything. Like the
Hmm.
shopping mall was the barbershop for America.
Hmm.
The barbershop is to us as black people. The beauty salon is to us as for sisters. The shopping mall was that for America, you know. Um, so back when it was thriving, and one of my first jobs was at a mall, and
Mm.
I thought, okay, if you work at the mall, what I assumed was you made a lot of money because they would dress nice, and I assumed that all your stuff was free.
Mm.
So again, that's what like you assume. Like back in the day, you wanted to be a banker. Why? Because you where all the money is. You don't know they get paid terribly. You thought, well, you got access to the money. You need some money. You just go back there and grab some. Pay your bills. Um,
Oh, your thinking was a little bit.
yeah, I was,
It was
smart. I was like,
uninformed.
yeah,
It
you at
was
the mall, you
uninformed.
dress nice, so you getting
Yeah.
paid and you get free stuff. I was like, yeah, so I want to be, I want to do that. So fashion merchandising was the focus for retail. So I was doing that for the marketing class, and then they had the speech contest that went along with it.
Mm.
Um, and one day he sat me down. And he's like, "Look, you can keep doing this little hood stuff you're doing and acting tough, or you can come over to this class and take it serious."
Mm.
That's I'll check you out because I was not paying attention in class at all. And then one day he was discussing economics and money and stuff like that, and I was countering with my view of money and how I was raised and where I was raised.
Mhm.
And we were basically saying the same thing. But I'm discussing
Mm.
the economics of the drug market, right? Because this is
Mm.
like cracks right around the corner. And I was in a neighborhood where there was a lot of drug movement. So I'm discussing that movement, what I've seen and heard and operated and done myself. And
Mhm.
then he's discussing it from the marketing, and I'm like, okay, that's just what we do over here when you flip this for this and get this for that and go get the baggies
Right.
and roll them up in the vans and da 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 da.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's actually called, free economics, and that's called trickle down, and that's called. I'm like, oh, so they
Come
got
on
names for
now.
all this. He's like, yeah. I was like, so it's legal. He's like, you know. I'm like, yeah, but your prescriptions is legal. The business
Mhm.
is legal. Big business is legal. Um, so I think at one point I got in trouble, but he fought for me because I wrote a report on how to do the drug game as a business perspective, and
Mm.
it was opening a weed spot. And this is like 1987.
Come on, you was foreshadowing.
When I was like, hey, you had this thing, it's like you put it in the mall or like a storefront, and you kind of have all your stuff separated, like individual stuff, and people buy individual. I had the whole thing, yeah. And they were like, we don't call your mama because we need to have a conversation. And he actually stepped like, no, like I told him to do this however he wanted, but to show me that economics. And after that, he got me into the contest they used to do in DECA. I was doing the speech
Mhm.
contest. I actually ended up going to the finals and making the top 10 in my category,
Come
doing a
on.
speech. My little black butt went from Dayton, Ohio to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Come on.
Yeah, you want to talk about culture shock. It was crazy. Uh, just crazy. And he was just this old white hippie who, he had the part to the side, slightly curled perm, the mustache, smoked the pipe, only believed in owning foreign cars. All didn't park where the teachers parked, and I found out why later because on his breaks he would go out and like put some weed in his pipe and like smoke his pipe out, where the car was. Um, yeah, but he was very much like, yeah, like here's here's how the school system is failing you.
Mm.
And that worked in a very good way for me. It worked in a
Mm.
very bad way for me because, like, you tell some 15-year-old that the game is
Mhm.
rigged, you either try to go against it, or you just go, what's the point? And I was
Right.
very much on some, what's the point? Why come to
Point.
school? So for a while, like I would come to his class. I would just come to
Wow.
his class. I'd skip the other ones. I show up on Friday, take the test, pass it, flip off the teacher, leave. I was like, cause all this, like, all it's just a game. Like all y'all are playing a game. Y'all ain't helping me. Like you literally are placed here to make sure I don't succeed.
Wow.
Um, so, but then he also turned me around from that because I was getting real whatever. So his thing would be, if you don't start going to other classes, you can't come here and do the stuff you want to do. So,
Mm.
yeah,
So
shout
he
out to
used
Mr.
your
Rap. It was weird. That's a
relationship.
whole left turn from poetry. Cause, but what's funny, he used to quote stuff. He would quote poets, and he spent half the time in the class discussing his life. I guess whatever he did as a businessman before he became a teacher.
Mm.
And he would discuss all that and economics. So he discussed philosophy, all kind of stuff. Where the rest of the classes was just BS. Yeah, was public schooling system in Dayton, Ohio in the 80s. Like, what else could you really expect? Um, but that's the first origin of the poetry stuff. The last part I'll say about that would be the first poem I performed at an open mic, because everybody wants to know the true origin story. Is I had been in a really good relationship that went really bad. We split up, and I was heartbroken because I thought I was going to marry her and be with her for the rest of my life. She's my soulmate. Um, and Love Jones had just dropped. Slam
Mm.
with Saul Williams and Sonia Son and them had just dropped.
Mm. Mm.
So everybody's trying to find a local poetry spot. And there was one a block from where I lived. Literally, it was a block from my apartment. So I wrote a very long for everyone watching this later, I typed my poem on a typewriter. And I read it every week until they tell me to stop. That's how long it was. I would just keep going. And they say, okay,
Wow.
stop. Next up is so and so. And I would just walk off, just crying and slobbering and tears and snot. And yeah, it was ugly. It was real. It was ugly. My thing was, I'm going to get all this off my chest. I'll make everybody else feel as sad as I feel. And I'm never coming back here again because I'm embarrassed. And it took me 4 weeks to finish that poem. That's how many pages I typed up. And
Wow.
on the final week, I got a standing ovation. And it was not because I was so dope. It's because I said it's the final part. Everybody's like, yes, thank God. That's what's up. And I said I was never coming back. And then yeah, like it's kind of like going to church. You say you're not going to go on Sunday. Friday rolls
Mm.
around, Saturday rolls around,
Mm.
Sunday morning rolls around, and all of a sudden you blink and
Your
you at
soul needs
church.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sitting in church clapping like, how the hell did I get to church? Same thing. The thing was every Wednesday. And I was like, I'm never going back. And then Sunday came around, Monday came around, Tuesday came around, Wednesday came around,
Yeah.
and I walked in the door, and I had nothing to say. Um, and someone called me up, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll let you spit, long as you ain't gonna do no more of that sad breakup crap." I said, "No, I'll do something different." And I freestyled something on the spot. I don't know what it was. Uh, but this elder sister came to me. Her name was Shongo Femi.
Mm.
She's one of the elders in the, I don't know how it is now, but in back then in poetry space, especially, this was a very black, very Afrocentric poetry space. And so we had elders within it.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about this
Mm-hmm.
life. I was very hood ghetto project nigga. I knew nothing about what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about no locks. If
Yeah.
you had locks, you was homeless or sold weed. That was what I knew. I didn't know about no incense, no oils, no peace, no
Ah, that home.
assalamu alaikum, no nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
So you come talking that sideways stuff to me, you was more than likely gonna get swung on because I know what you was saying to me. But this sister came up and she said, "I'm so glad you came back. I was hoping you would." And I'm looking like, you're a little older for me, but what's good, girl? Like that's how ignorant my head was. Like, okay, what's your name? Shango Fami? Yeah, I work with that. Whatever. And she was very patient with me. And she pulled out this book. I don't have it here on the desk, but she pulled out a book called The Black Poets Anthology.
Mm.
It's the one with the birds on the front and the shackles on the bottom. of the book
Okay.
with the birds flying off. And she said, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to read this and do not do any poem of your own until you read its entire book.
Mm,
I was like, I don't know you. Why the hell I'm gonna listen to you? But I'm gonna be nice and
mm,
okay. Thank you for the book. Cool, whatever. I don't think she is. She and my mama. But I found myself. I took that book with me on the bus, bathroom, kitchen,
mm,
everywhere I went. That book was in my pocket, reading it. And ironically enough, it goes from uh, slave narrative, Negro spiritual poetry to like at the time I think its modern stuff was Amir Baraka,
mm,
right? Nikki Giovanni. So in that was Paul Laurence Dunbar. So that got my attention. And then
mm.
I just kept reading it, reading it, reading it, and couldn't put it down. Could not put it down. And that's where I was like, oh, I might want to, you know, go back to this thing and like have a poem and like
Yeah.
have something to say, not just run my mouth because it was cool to do so. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think I wrote who knows what at the time, but I wrote something. I'm sure it was a very bad derivative of whatever I was reading in the book at the time. Because I remember the time I couldn't even comprehend what Amir was talking about. It just
Mm,
him and Nikki and then was way over my head. Uh, County Collin and some other folks, Claude McKay.
mm,
Excuse me, I was able to
mm.
get. Uh, yeah, so that was my origin. Like how I came to regularly go was because that community of people, instead of laughing at me when I came back or ridiculing me because I definitely was not respecting the stage, I was just crying and making a fool of myself. They held space for me when I came back. They were like, "We're glad you're back. We think there's something in you that you
Yeah.
don't see yet." You know. And looking
Yeah.
back, if I could find her, I'd kiss her feet. I mean, it was just the sweetest thing for her to do at the time.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
You might be the first poet I know that started off in the open mic with a cereal poem.
Look,
Boy,
man, my heart was broke. My heart was broke. I even changed ribbon in the typewriter from
come
black
on
to red, and so I could hold it up to the light at the open mic
to
and
the
be like,
red letter.
"The red represents the blood I shed for this
Come
relationship."
on.
I like cried on the page. So I can hold it. You can see the tear stains. These are the
Oh
tears I
my
actually
goodness.
cried. There's blood, sweat, and tears in this relation. Yeah, I was terrible. Good Lord.
A young thespian using out there. Yes, that's what's up. I appreciate that. You know what? I really appreciate the story, the moment, but I also appreciate the venue allowing you to be vulnerable and
Mm,
allowing that, right? Like for a young black man to be able to express his feelings and weep, you know, like you can do that now and in some spaces. And I, as a parent, have even done that to my own son to be like, stop that crying. You know, like you don't have to cry. You can, move past that. But it's not that easy to do. Right. And
right.
sometimes you do have to cry. And, that's one of the things that I've learned as my son has gotten older is that to allow him to have space for his emotions. And I appreciate the venue, the people there allowing that, right? Like, because, yeah, I don't know how, I mean, obviously that you've had a community of people around you who've been pushing you into the way that are directing you in some sense. But I don't necessarily know if that would have been able to stand in some of the venues or even the venue that I started in, right? Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
I
yeah,
really appreciate that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen a lot of venues. I mean, of course, over the decades, and I was blessed to come up in the incubator where I was. I was ignorant of what I was doing, and the people that were in that space were ignorant of the world around them and what it was doing.
Mm,
So they were further along, poetically speaking, and Afrocentrically than I
mm,
was. But they themselves were also ignorant to the next level of things. And that was the beauty of it. So therefore, like I remember when someone first mentioned Poetry Slam, um, and I saw one, I thought they had copied off the guy who ran our show. I go, y'all stole Todd shit. Like, He just calls it a poetry contest. What the hell's a slam? Y'all stole from Todd. I'm mad because y'all stole Todd's thing. Not
Oh,
realizing, excuse me, it was already this national thing. I'm cussing
yeah.
people out because y'all stole it from this brother in Columbus, Ohio they've never heard of. Um, yeah, so it was a very beautiful experience. This brother named Todd Tooney, love that brother from Columbus, Ohio. He just I don't know why he did it, honestly. It was a small space. It was half like art gallery, coffee, sit and chill, half black
Yeah.
box theater. But the
I
whole
was there.
thing was super small, like a super, super small space.
Yeah.
Um, and he was charging $5 a head. I think initially it was like 350, some weird number. Like five a head on a Wednesday night for a couple hours to come in. His coffee setup was literally a two burner and whatever boxes of tea his girl had bought. The coffee was a coffee pot, regular decaf.
Mm,
With
mm,
no snacks, with no food, wasn't no nothing. You sat on
mm,
couches and looked at the Afrocentric work on one side. You went to a little door on the other side, and it was a black box theater, which just means for people who know what that means. It just means anything that's totally blacked out. So black ceiling, black floors, black wall, everything's blacked out, furniture, all that. Small little stage and a microphone. You know, if it was, I think maybe 30, 40 people in there, it was a packed house. You
mm.
know, and they had this beautiful little incubator. It's what it became for a lot of us that came up in that. You got to watch stuff that the younger me did not appreciate or laughed at or ridiculed, and the older me is now trying to go back
Come on.
and pull those moments so they
Mm,
have their proper place and legacy.
mm,
Like I remember a brother named Is Said. That's name is brother Is Said. Right? That's
mm.
like that'll tell you the era. You know, like
Right.
that's 60s. Brother Is Said. Like okay, I remember time thinking it was a stupid name. You know, and he had these Afrocentric plays, and I said, yeah, bro, you just using that trying to get laid. You know, these Afrocentric sisters around, and they drumming, and got on a fabric and cloth and hair done up and all this stuff, and I was like, what is this black shit? Again, this I'm being like I was very very ignorant. Um, but I remember the biggest thing was he had these beautiful poems, but he repeat lines, and I was like, that's corny. We all thought it
Mm,
was corny. All the younger people, the bomb, the bomb, the bomb, the bomb, the bomb is coming one day for us all.
mm,
And my people, my people, my people, my people, you must listen when I say, like, man, why you do? So we get up there and do shit to make fun of that.
mm.
And again, just,
Damn.
um, like even now it makes me emotional remembering that because he's no longer with us, right?
Mm,
He's transitioned on, but the patience he had, just the patience. We get up there, how you doing, brother? Is said, and then do whatever little poem we did, along that line of making fun of it, and the word, the word, the word, the word, da, 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 da. And then one day I was blessed to see the Last Poets live. This is
mm.
before I had a relationship with any of them. And I saw them live, and it was church,
Come on.
and it was just church, and something in it spoke to something in me, and I was like, but why is this resonating?
Hmm.
It's like, oh, because I spent years in a space in Columbus, Ohio, where this brother did this every week. Him and
Come
his
on.
crew did this every week, but we laughed at them,
Mm.
you know. Uh, yeah, just that's the biggest thing as you go, like looking back, when you say people that were looking out for you. Yeah, it was the patience. It wasn't a never mind. It wasn't a F you. It
Yeah.
was a, hey, Ed, you want to do my play? I ain't about to do no play of yours. I got to wear that stuff and drum. Well, just come check it out. If you're interested, come through. And went from that to as I got older, helping him with his plays. I'll direct one for you all, whatever you want. Um, the man passed away and had how many volumes of poems and 100 plays written.
Wow.
Once they got something named after him in the city. and you go, oh damn, like he was our last poet, he was our Amiri, he was
Come
our,
on.
so you out here rushing to listen and celebrate and try to talk and sound deep about someone else, but you didn't even acknowledge your people at home.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, so it's funny how people show up for you in different ways. And some of it is to take charge, and some of it was the grace. And the older I've gotten in the quote unquote game, the more I'm trying to extend more grace. And
that's
sometimes that
beautiful.
comes through silence, you know?
Yeah. That's beautifully said, and I appreciate you. First of all, I appreciate the fact that you acknowledged Brother Is and shared that story, right? And I appreciate that, and I pray that the name lives on, and we continue to say his name and to tell his story because that's important. Telling the story with your story because that's important. But it the now that you are beyond the novice and a master in your craft, how often do you look back and think about um the arrogance or the ignorance of youth, and then, you know, be equally as patient to the arrogance and ignorance of youth that we see, right? Like, because it that whole balance, it coming back is something, right? And so in now acknowledging the fact that your community who gave you this opportunity, who nurtured you in that space, gave patience and the freedom to learn on your own. How easy is it to do that to the poets who are coming up now, who have, you know, sometimes chips on their shoulders, the attitude sometimes is to set you aside. You know, I've heard younger poets say, "Move out the way so we can come through," and I'm like, yeah, I'm not in your way for you to come through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know, in that thought process, how then do we
um,
um
that's okay. That's a great question. I am still I'm still a project in progress. Uh,
okay,
because also the older you get, the more you become yourself, right? So
that's true.
I I've learned from my lessons and want to try to apply them to others. I'm
Mm,
also aware that it's no one's responsibility to take my advice or my lessons.
mm,
So we can try as we may. Um, just have this conversation with someone. Some people need guidance. Some people need their hand held, and some people need to bump their head into a wall.
mm,
You know,
fair.
uh, and the sooner you figure out who you're dealing with, the sooner you know how to deal with them. The sooner you know which one you need to do.
Yeah,
Like, hey, let me just let you do you. You know, or hey, let me help you, place you here, or here, follow me, right? Uh, the Dayton and Cincinnati in me uh, has a particular response to younger generation who wants to pop off at the mouth um, about whatever. Yeah, just I get it. Like I get it. It's a natural thing um, to want to push back and take over and be next. But like you said, I'm not in your way, right? Like that's the
easy.
biggest thing is we all are doing this. So what am I doing to be in your way? What money did I take from you? What opportunity did I rob you of? Um, the answer is nothing. What's meant for you is meant for you. What's meant for me is meant for me. Um,
Yeah,
you can't take it from me. If it was meant for me, it'll come around one way or the other.
yeah,
Even if you think you did, you didn't. You
yeah,
know, like you were meant to take it, right? So I've never quite understood that philosophy. But also the times have changed from me to a brother is said is, oh, good Lord. I mean, again, I did a typewriter for that first poem. So there was no computer yet to do it on, with no printer. I could just print it home. Um, to cats reading off their cell phones now. So the ready-made pop culture, overnight microwave, streaming service going viral, even if it's just in your own head. Like viral doesn't mean 1 million people anymore. It used to mean 1 million people have seen what you've done before you said you were viral. Now
Right.
viral means you had a flash of popularity, last
Yeah.
night. 100
Yeah.
people dug you. Great. That was, oh my God, it blew up. It's like, okay, now what? Yes, a lot of that has changed. So I try to be, my thing is, I look at it like this now. If you hit me up for information or advice, I will gladly give it. Um, but I'm not making a point to go out trying to give it.
Mhm.
That's what it is. Where it used to be, I would just jump online and, hey y'all, you didn't ask, but here's some information. Here's info on this, here's info on that, here's how to do this, how to do that. And what I noticed is people wouldn't pay attention. Even if you put the game for free, they're like,
Mm.
whatever. And then someone else would offer bad information at a price, but they pay for it because they like the person, or the person
Mm.
had 1 million views on a poem, or the person was a little younger, just whatever the case was. And you go, you know what? Yeah, just you start to get mad. I'm trying out here and I'm in these streets busting my butt for y'all. And then someone might like, dog, no one asked you. Who came and actually asked you to create a
Yeah.
path?
Yeah.
And I started realizing, I think that's part of the thing is that if you are a if you are a trailblazer, it's a thankless job because you didn't apply for it in the first place.
Mm.
Um, Coltrane didn't ask to lead nobody.
Right.
He actually spent his entire career trying to find himself.
Mm.
you know. But in doing so, other people are like, ooh, I want to find myself. So if I listen to what he does and do what he did, maybe I'll find myself. But he never once said, well, let me break it down to you kids. You just,
Mhm.
hey,
Mhm.
you want to practice? You can come practice. You want to catch a show? You can
Right.
catch a show. You want to talk about music? Then we can talk music. But other than that, best of luck in your journey.
Mm.
Miles was the same way, but with a very different attitude about it. You know, Miles wasn't on some, I'm going to lead y'all to the new Vanguard. Miles was just like, yeah, I'm tired of this. What's next? Okay, I'm tired of that. What's next? I'm tired of that.
Mhm.
What's next? I'm tired of that.
Mhm.
What's next? Period. That's why there was no, like what he said. I found this interesting in the interview. He made a comment about the whole birth of cool, turn your back on the audience thing makes them want you more. He's like, everyone misunderstands why I do that.
Mhm.
He's like, you're not paying to hear Miles Davis. You pay for the privilege of seeing me and my band figure shit out.
Mm.
That's it. He said, you pay for the privilege of seeing us figure shit out. That's what we're doing. So I turn to the people I'm having a conversation with. I'm not talking to y'all.
Mm.
I'm having a
And listen.
conversation with the band.
Yeah.
So as we
Yeah.
work through this, you pay to get to watch this. That's
Mm.
why he be quick to tell somebody, hey, shut up. Even the bar gets to, anyone gets to, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
You paid to see this. You want to do the other thing, go somewhere else. So I've
Yeah.
never seen people out at the poetry show. Ah! You know what this was, a poetry show. You want to do
Yeah.
the other thing, go elsewhere with the other thing. You know.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, yeah, that's my attitude now is I'm doing what I'm doing, and if I do the job right, by default, it should. I know that I've blazed a trail. Um, I'm comfortable enough in my skin now to say that and not feel icky about
Right.
it. Uppity,
Right.
like crown on your head. I know I've blazed a trail. I hope that I've shown enough people what to do and what not to do.
Mhm.
Right? Like people say all the time, man, I'm a beat your record one day for slams. I was like, if you do, then I failed at my job. You know what I'm saying? Like no one thinks of it that, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go chase what Jordan did and Kobe did. If you do it and they failed at their jobs, be
Mm.
great. Like be great. you know. But do you know what I sacrificed when I thought that slam was so important or touring was so important, spoken word was
Mm.
so important? The things I gave up to do it,
Mm.
like, you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Unpack that a little bit. How'd you get into slam?
how did I?
Get it? Well, I know you started off with a contest, right? And in your mind, you found like those contests and slams were kind of the same thing. So how did you develop this thought process of, you know, um, understanding that, you know, this is something that I want to do and I can actually be great at it?
Yeah, my origin story suck. I should warn you. Everyone else has a cool origin story. I was writing since I was in the womb. Like, nah. So I was doing those poetry contests at Snaps and Taps, tied to in Columbus, Ohio. And there were poetry contests, and it was three places. You got uh, $10, $5, and a free pass for the next week. That was only good for the next week, so you had to come back that week. For one entire year, I would do the poetry contest. We call them slams just to simplify it. And for one entire year, I don't care what the poem was about. I don't care if I set myself on fire. I don't care if my outfit was nice. I never got better than third place. For a year, third place. For a year. Not fourth, not fifth, not second. For one
But a
year,
ticket to next week.
I got third place. So much so, this is how bad it got. I would come in. Todd be like, yo, you gonna sign up for the contest? But yeah, man, I'm ready this time. Got my poem. I'm ready. I'm gonna kill it, Todd. And he would hold up the third place envelope and he turned it around and he wrote my name on it already. Now, what are the policies on language here? I don't want to disrespect the pod.
Nah, we good.
Okay, I
It's
would be
18
like,
and over.
fuck you, Todd. Like, I promise you, I'm getting first tonight. You gonna eat. You gonna eat that third place envelope. You be like,
Right.
brother, if you get first, I will literally eat this envelope. Deal. I go up there. La 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 pa 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 pa. So pow. The whole thing, the WB frog tap dance, everything. And they go up
Who you be?
and they would be like, so in third place, I'm not moving. I know I ain't got it. I not this time. I know it. Give it up for, and the whole crowd, Ed Mabrey. And I'm
Not
like,
the
Todd.
crowd.
And Todd was like, got the score written down in the envelope. They write your score in the envelope back then. Keep track of it. I was so heated. But I think I left. I think I walked out. I don't think I took the envelope. I just walked out. A whole year. For 1 year,
Yeah.
I could not win. Then uh, I went to left the city. A couple cats started traveling to Cleveland and Cincinnati and seeing other
Yeah.
places shows. Because again, we think we're the only people that are doing this at this
Mm-hmm.
point. So we get to Cleveland and Chief Rocket Entertainment. Shout out to them back in the day. We get there, they got a six person staff. All the homies come up like Tribe Called, like some Dungeon
What?
Underground, passing the microphone, cipher moment, and chicken wings everywhere. It was just a beautiful show. And they do a contest. I'm like, oh, I thought it was just us. Like, nah, dog. There's one in Cincinnati. There's one in Indianapolis. There's one in Chicago.
Yeah.
I spent the next month kind of moving around, seeing other places. And then I came back and I competed. And then I won. And I did not lose a contest anywhere I went for the next 14 months.
Come on.
So people always talk this stuff about, like, you've always won. You don't know how it feels to lose. Like, I started off a loser.
Yeah.
I literally could not buy a win for a
Yeah.
year. But that year was actually me wood shopping without knowing it.
Exactly.
Because it was each week it was write your poems, and this your homies, like these your people. Y'all sit at the
Yeah.
table together, going through your poems. All right, Tasha, you ready? All right, I've got you this time. Go for the
Yeah.
microphone, spit your poem. Ooh, I like what they said there. Let me see your poem. Okay, okay, okay. Sit down. You used to take journals back in the day, actual, real, physical journals, y'all. Write down stuff in your journal. Go back the next, and then you was home that night. By the next morning, you was already thinking of stuff. you're working stuff in that week, come back the next week when you work, and the next week, and the next week, and the next week. So you're creating a work ethic without realizing it. You're creating how to use an audience as an editing tool without realizing it, right? All the things that help us later on in life,
Right.
You're creating all those things because more or less the same audience is coming, same people are hearing your homies are hearing you. You're challenging yourself based upon other poets' writing styles. Oh, Tasha did something that was funny. I don't do funny. They seem to love funny. I'm gonna have a funny poem next week to be on the safe side. So now you're shifting your own narrative, like you're shifting your narrative. Yeah, so that was my whole like origin to slam was that.
Man, that's a Michael Jordan origin story. This you got that I got cut from 10th grade. For sure.
Exactly.
For
I was
sure. You got
I'm LeBron. I'm LeBron now, but I was Mike when I started.
yeah,
LeBron
you
now, but I was
got
definitely Mike when I started. I was definitely on some, hey, sorry kid, you can't cut it. Yeah, yeah.
that's that fire. Now, please. Now you can really these people who, yeah, like they don't. What what privilege do you have to be on the stage with me? You didn't do this for a whole year losing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot. That's a lot. That's a beautiful story. That definitely got to be in the documentary for sure.
And I will say that as corny as it sounds, I probably learned more from those losses than I have in any of the wins. And I
I'm
know
for sure you have
when you
because
say
I've
that,
lost.
yeah, like when you say it, it sounds very privileged. And I'm very I had a conversation with someone else recently about that. Like I'm very privileged and very spoiled from the slam part of it, as far as the actual competition itself and my success in it. But I
Mhm.
do believe that it's more a matter of trying to teach people or poets what not to do. Don't make it your life. Don't get so caught up in it
Mm,
that you think it's gonna make or break you. Like most Def said, like hip hop will not save you.
mm,
Can do a lot of things, and people always misunderstand that. I think you sound bitter. Like no, hip hop was not built to save you.
that's right.
It's an art form. It's built for you to feed into it, and if you feed into it properly, then you get something back.
Yeah,
But if it's your calling, then you feed into it, and the fact that
yeah.
you're doing your calling is the payment. Um,
Mm.
so I was doing what I was supposed to do, but if I could go back and do it differently, yeah, I definitely would.
When did you know that it was your calling?
Oh Jesus. Oh, God. Poetry. Hmm. Okay, so it's your podcast? When I was younger, I believed I was called to preach.
Mm.
There's that. St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church, 2345 Lakeview Avenue, Dayton, Ohio. It's
Come on,
moved
address.
to Gettysburg now, but that will always be my version of St. Luke. And I believe I was called to preach. So that was in Dayton. I didn't come. The day I was supposed to get up and confess my calling, chickened out. I was like 12, like mad young, and I was just like, you know, let me go sit down. Like I
Not
ain't had
yet,
a,
Lord. Not yet, Lord.
yeah, I ain't had no kiss yet, and like they talking about you can't get no booty. I at least want to kiss first, Lord. Like Jesus, can I get a like? Can I come back at 18? Can I go to prom first?
You said, Lord, you want me to do all my sinning in church? Oh, no,
It's
that's
gonna be awkward, right? But fast forward to Columbus, Ohio, and this is just before Poetry's Heart, and had found a good church home, was looking at doing the same thing as far as talking to a minister about the process. Um, and in doing so, uh, is take your time. Took my time, and some things happened where I didn't follow through, and then poetry happens, and I'm at a Savion Glover event, Savion Glover event, and I'm leaving, bump into my pastor, and I'm like, ooh, you know,
that part.
how you doing, bro? He says, hey man, come here for a minute. I'm like, yeah, so I saw your poetry thing. Like, what? Yeah, I saw you perform. Oh, shit. I can explain about the language and all the movement and stuff, like Pastor Troy of New Salem Baptist Church in Columbus, Ohio, one of the greatest men I've ever met. And I'm going to explain myself, and he pulled me aside. He said, look, the calling doesn't change, just the pulpit.
Oh,
Um,
come
he
on,
said,
Pastor
so,
Troy.
yeah, he said, so I saw what you're supposed to do until further notice. Not saying that that's your permanent
Mm,
pulpit, but it is one of the ones you will take up. So you've confessed your calling. It's just you confessed it over there. Um, he's like, it's gonna come with different expenses. It's gonna cost you something different. The infrastructure's not there like it would be if you were in, conventional church. He's like, but I believe Richard Pryor had a calling. Like what? Because I the only person I've ever idolized in my life was Richard Pryor.
really?
Yes, and he was like, yeah, Richard
Huh.
Pryor is a funny man. He said, you can't tell me comedy wasn't his calling. And also, you
Mm,
can't tell me it wasn't a calling on him. Not just he was funny, that was his calling. And I was like, I couldn't agree more.
that's
Um,
dope.
and he was like, yeah, he said, so don't feel like don't feel embarrassed
God,
about what you're doing.
mm-hmm,
He said, but you're going to have to protect yourself more. I wish I had listened in. I didn't know what he meant. He said, you
mm-hmm,
have to protect yourself because the protections aren't in place for you in that world.
mm,
And I know I, this is probably the first year of that open mic poetry contest experience. No idea what he meant. Um, I know now, but no idea what he meant at the time. And yeah, so that's how the first time I was like, okay, this man sees it,
mm-hmm,
So now the first time I accepted it, oh Jesus. I spent most of my career trying not to accept it.
mm,
Um, to be honest, because it's always scared me.
mm,
And not to try to sound preposterously deep, people to watch this later. I'm not. It's the reason I'm saying that is simple. Um, I knew Amir Baraka personally. I'm
mm-hmm,
very proud to say that. Uh, wasn't like homies like calling each other, but I could go to the man's house. um, he knew me, knew my work, loved me. I know whom I've been assigned of the last poets. Um, I look at him as a father figure and a mentor. He
mm,
tries to refuse that and say we're brothers.
mm,
He says we're peers. I think that's disrespectful to his legacy. So I'll
mm,
say it. Um, I was one of the last people to book Gil Scott Heron for a show before he transitioned. Um, for the first ever MLK celebration that happened in the state of Arizona.
mm,
I put that concert on. I produced it. He came and performed with his original band. Uh, to me, all those brothers had a calling, and I watched how this country treated them,
mm.
and then I watched how they treated themselves,
Ooh,
and nothing about that appealed to me. It scared me. So I
mm,
used to run from that calling question. I would laugh, play it off. I just slam. Next question. But now I'm older, so more honest about it. Yeah, it scared the shit out of me.
yeah,
Like, because if you accept it, do you go crazy? If you accept it,
mm,
do you do heroin? If you accept it, do you become homeless? If you accept it, do people use you? If you accept it, does that mean you ever get to have friends?
come on.
Do you always have to be in some militant mindset? Always have to be on a pedestal? I used
Yeah,
to think Saul Williams was smart for dodging that shit. Right? Like I used to think he was reinventing himself all the time. He was just pursuing all his interests and goals. Known that brother for decades as well, love him to death. Um, and he kind of refused to be contained in the thing. Matter of fact, he did some interview at some point. Someone mentioned like slam or freestyling something to him. He said, "Yeah, go talk to Ed Mabry." And that's the only reason I knew about it, because they're like, yeah, he told us to talk to you. I'm like, what? We can talk in years. He's, yeah, we mentioned this. He's not going to talk to you. He'll cover that. And I was like, oh, that's very sweet of him, I think. Yeah, I mean, hell, Nikki, um, Sonia, she gets love now, but it's a weird community love.
Yeah.
It's we dote on you love. Um, but like, did Betty Shabazz get that love?
Mm.
So sorry, I'm trying to get overly emotional about it, so I keep trying to reel that back in. Yeah, it became a very weird thing of calling, because I was like, show me an example of someone in poetry that was Black, that took it as a calling, that lived a happy life,
Mm.
not a good life. Mary had an amazing life. Him, his wife, jazz music, live in Jersey. He didn't bother by nobody, bothered him. Cool. But how happy was the brother the whole time? Like, because they never gave him his due. You know, they wanted him to be him, but be him under their rules. We want
I
we want the
know.
academic
Yeah.
Baraka. We don't want the, fire and brimstone. Uh,
Yeah.
Maya Angelou, you know, cool when she got old and wrinkly and sitting with Oprah giving her opinion, doing college spots here and there and inspiration for young sisters. But when nobody checking for her when she was young and directing movies and acting and theater and all that.
Singing and
Saying,
dancing. Yeah.
I was saying, like, they wasn't checking for her. So to answer your thing full circle, to shut up about it. Uh, when I accepted the calling, at least for 10 minutes, I was at a Greyhound bus station. I want to say Detroit, but I could be wrong. Greyhound bus station. Minding my business, standing in line. Poet life. And hear somebody say, poet. Greyhound bus station, I'm turning around. Poet. Poet, I know you hear me saying your name. So the third time, I'm like, okay, it's Umar bin Hassan of the Last Poets.
Come on.
He's in another line. I go to rush out, he goes, no. Comes over to me, shows me love. And I'm like, what are you doing here? He said, what are you doing here? I'm like, heading to a gig. He's like, same.
Heading to a gig. Yeah.
And I'm like, but no, like, you're Umar bin Hassan of the Last Poets. You don't take the Greyhound bus to a gig. Who is this? I need to call them, cuss them out. Like,
Mm.
where's the limo? Where's the flight? Where's the?
Mm.
And he laughed at me. He was like, brother, this is the gig. Like, the work is the work. And I was like, but if they'll do this to you, and I'm thinking of our age difference, era
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Um,
time, the energy, what you put in, what you've sacrificed already, the differences between the two, it's a lot.
and the kicker of it was, I used to actually have beef with Common, not that Common knows who I am. Um, this is when he did the corner for B.
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing B at Saturday Night Live, and then I think the Grammys. Um, and the way they had it set up was, yeah, we'll get you from New York to LA, but you gotta get your own ass to New York.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting a bus to New York
Mm-hmm.
to record the live, the band, like Common's the band with the Last Poets. And they weren't even giving billing. It was Common.
Mm.
But he made damn sure that he did, because that's only that it was a dope album. But what got his attention, like what blew him up for that album, was the corner.
That's right. The
Um,
corner.
so he was on a bus to go up there for that. Like, they couldn't come get you. He said, "Nah, man. If I want to do it, I got to get there." So I got me some money together, got a ticket real quick. Hey, you take care of yourself. I love you. Gave me a kiss on the cheek. Got back in line. I couldn't even, when I got to the show I was going to do, like, I didn't want to do the show. I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I was like, if this is what I got to look forward to. So I do this for 20, 30 more years, and this is what I'll be doing.
Mm.
And that's the best I can expect. Then why? And you can't tell me that man wasn't called to do what he does. He's heaven sent.
Yeah.
So I accepted it. And also I think it ended up being like one of the most probably fiery, brimstony, performances I probably did, being worked up energy wise. But yeah, I accepted it then. It's just I told myself that I would never get too caught up in it.
Yeah.
That was like I would never get too, this is my thing. So now I'm gonna give y'all what y'all want, but I'm not going to go past a certain level. I'm a self-care, they're not a phrasing, but I'm gonna pull back and make sure that I take care of myself. So when this is
Yeah.
over, I come home and remind myself, yeah, it was just a show. What
Yeah.
y'all got, that's cool. You got something from it, that's beautiful. I'm gonna go home. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, thank you for that. You have a lot of beautiful stories that could be. I hope you're making a documentary or something because this it needs to be right. Like
I will hit up
it needs to
Questlove, see if we can do something.
exactly. It needs to accompany the book. It needs to accompany a CD. It needs to be on tour in academia, right? Like we need to come to colleges and listen to you lecture. But with that thought process, like you said, that was a fiery, brimstony kind of um, performance after that. What is your creative process when it comes to the stage? Right? Do you write with the stage in mind? Does the stage shape your pen?
It has. Um, I used to write with the stage in mind. I had a very bad phase when I was writing with slam in mind. Do not recommend that. Got out of that phase very quickly though, thank God. Um, but yeah, I would write with the stage in mind, in terms of performance. Because standing there gets boring. That was always my thing. Standing there just gets boring real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Plus, I guess from my youth choir time, my male chorus time in the church, apparently that little boy who did the fourth grade thing for Miss Harmon, he had something he wanted to say. Um, so I would have these ideas in my head, and I would try to figure out how to basically poetize them. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a poem in my head. Um, I have a poem called Q&A. Everybody calls it the Wonder Bread poem, but it's Q&A. And the poem covers, it's written in rhetoric form, and it covers a boy's life from age 4 to 40. So I embody each one of those ages. No costume
Mm-hmm.
change, just body language and voice. Um, that's an example of something I was like, ooh, this would be cool. And then the poem
Mm-hmm.
came afterwards. So it'd be like nice to like, in 3 minutes, can I show someone's life in 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but still also kind of take it to a fantastical place at the end, where it becomes very abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the opera I wrote, I have a 3 minute opera I did in the slam. I have a libretto I wrote for a slam, a couple of librettos right now. A musical I wrote, as
Mm-hmm.
directed by Spike Lee. I said, "Ooh, I want Spike Lee to direct this poem." So I wrote a poem as if Spike Lee was directing me in it.
Come on now.
Um, yeah, the part came on boredom. That's again the sign you need to move on to the next thing. And I was ignoring that sign. 'Cause I kept trying to find clever ways to shrink things down into what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
instead of me grow out into the things I was meant to do.
Come on.
So instead of write a libretto and then go write an opera, now I'm gonna write the libretto, but I'm gonna do it in poetry and in a slam and get accolades for that. Cool. And then it gets peer reviewed, you know, and all of a sudden you see that. And to see your work peer reviewed is a whole, how that can
Mm-hmm.
be. So you look and all of a sudden someone sends you back your work a year later, like, here's what we did with your shit. And you're like, dang, I didn't know. Oh, I could have. I could have.
Right.
You could take.
Right.
You saw the
Right.
connection of,
Right.
oh, you know, doctor said what? School said who? Um, and that became a whole thing. And I was like, oh, now, now what can I do? Uh, start incorporating dance into it, choreographing for other people. And then this one cat was like, man, I want to see you do it. And I showed him, like, no, you got to do it like this. And I close my eyes and I do it, open my eyes up, and all the cats on the team, the slam team, look at me like, yeah, no, you're doing it. We're not doing it. That's you. Like, I'm not
Right.
getting my obese ass. I'm not embarrassing myself.
Right.
And they're like, bro, I'm telling you, go do it. And then, you do it, release yourself and be willing to be vulnerable, and you do it,
Mm-hmm.
and people receive it, and you're like, oh. So I've definitely written with the stage in mind. That's changed now, of course, with time in academia, to where now I'm no longer trying to shrink and I'm trying to expand. So that's the biggest thing. So it's going back to that previous work and now saying, okay, what happens if I take the lid off of it?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, all the previous restrictions. It's funny, as you get older, you keep realizing no one's been holding you back but yourself.
Come on.
You've been restricting yourself, and the moment you go do something, someone goes, oh, that's cool. Oh, I could have been done it. Like, no one told you nothing. Like, we was waiting for you. We thought you was
And
happy down there. That's, which also goes
I'm
back
gonna
to the,
I'm gonna pause right there. I thought you was happy down there, right? Like you've been holding yourself to this little space, right? And you feel like that was the stuff. Like that's bananas.
look, I mean, it's a weird thing that you learn, and I'm sure you've had these experiences as well, because you're an exemplary writer, where you think at some point you're going to do something, and then someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and goes, let me show you this room. And you go into that magic room where it's
Mm-hmm.
all your peers and we've been waiting for you. No, they've already seen you. They're watching you. And it's a weird sensation to realize that the people that you are enamored with, admire, respect, whatever, you're on their radar to some extent. They
Yeah.
see you. It's kind of the joke of regardless of gender or sex, whatever, someone sits on their social media complaining about how the other gender or sex ain't shit. But then every day they post, I can't wait to get married.
That part.
And you go, has it ever crossed your mind that the person is there, but they're reading everything you're saying, and they're waiting for that shift in what you say before they say anything?
Come on.
So it's not that you need to manifest them, they're there, but they're not speaking up because of where you are. They assume, oh, you're still happy being where you are. And I learned that quite a bit, especially when I first moved to LA. The love I got when I moved there, the assistance I received, the phone calls, the networking, the workshopping. It was like, where was y'all back when? So, oh, we saw you, but you were doing the other thing. So we assumed you was cool with the other thing. Because if you wasn't cool with it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
stopped doing that thing and you moved
Yeah.
over here, then we go, oh, you must want to do this thing now. And I believe that's how the universe, God, moves as well. You ask for a blessing, cool. But then we wait for the blessing to come where we are.
Mm.
It's like, why would the blessing come to where you are? Lord, give me that Lexus. Nigga, you still in the hood. It's going to get stolen. It's going to get broken into every other week.
Mm.
But if you just simply get over here, there's one waiting for you.
Mm.
You can't afford insurance. Give me that house. Okay, well, how about you show you can pay rent? I made a joke about that once, someone saying about a new phone. And I was like, I don't use everything on the phone I have. Why I need something new?
Come on now.
Like, it has AI and assistance, and literally I went a couple of years trying to find an assistant. So like I need one. And in all reality, I do need an assistant. And then I saw something on YouTube and it showed, hi, I'm Tasha, and I'm gonna show you how to use your whatever phone as a daily assistant. And this lady sat there and did all this stuff, and it was real simple. And I was like, oh damn, that's my phone.
I've been having an assistant. Yeah.
I've had this phone for 2 years. The 2 years I've been
Exactly.
searching for an assistant, I've been
And it's
sitting
right
with
here.
one. It's like, so I don't need that one until I use this one.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
outgrow the thing you're at, then you'll get the next thing.
Come on now.
Anyway, that's a very long-winded version of getting back to, yes, I write with a stage in mind, performance in mind. Now it's more screenplays and choreo poems, not in the uh, Misaki, I'm saying it wrong, Shange way, not the For Colored Girls, because while that was considered choreo poetics and choreo poem, I still think while they credit her with coining the phrase, that it's not applied properly, because those monologues were poems, but there wasn't much choreo to it because everybody stands in their individual spot.
Right. Right.
So the lack of movement to me equals to not being actual choreo poem. But they wanted to call it something because they didn't want to give her the credit saying she made a nice play.
Mm-hmm.
So they go, oh, it's a choreo, it's a other thing. And they tried to pigeonhole with it, and she gladly exploded past all that. Thank God for her doing her work.
Yeah.
But choreo poetics, an aspect of movement with it, where the movement is intrinsically connected to a necessary, not a
Right.
flap my arms because I want attention, create fake intensity, but actually, there's a wave, you know, that almost,
Mm-hmm.
made me drown. And, as I was under, so it's simple things you go, oh, that's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
It adds to what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. We have already come to I can't believe that I haven't even asked all of the questions that I want to ask yet, right? Like
Oh,
this is
sorry. Ask them all. I'll start answering shorter. I'll answer short.
no, no, it's bananas to me. And we're gonna have you back on for sure. Um, I do want to just have you tell the people what's coming up next for you, and then I'm gonna go through a list of our little, you know, resident questions that is one word answer, just quick, whatever the first thing comes to your mind, right? Not, yeah, just whatever the first thing comes to your mind. So tell us what's up next, and then we'll have you back on after that for sure. After
And I apologize. Yeah, I get you shouldn't. We should have some kind of code. You be like, you know,
you don't even have to
wrap it up.
apologize. This is real love.
What's up next for me? Right now, the biggest things are, biggest thing is school. Yeah,
Yeah,
finishing up school. So I'm finishing up my undergrad. I graduate in May, knock on wood. And then I'll already be a year into my MFA. So I got permission to run it concurrently. So my MFA
nice.
at Delphi University, shout out, go Panthers. Yes, we're Panthers. Go
Okay.
Panthers.
Pew,
Um,
pew, pew, pew.
right. So that's the biggest thing is that, and working on my first like legit real manuscript.
That's what's
So
up.
that's a whole
Congratulations on that part.
that's a whole thing. And
Yeah.
debating on the PhD program. That's why I be harassing you with questions.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say yes automatically for the PhD program. I don't, it's no ifs and buts about it. Yes.
I'm about
Undeniable.
90% there now. When we first
Yeah.
talked, I think I was like 10. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm about 90% there at this point. Yeah. Because see what this
Yeah.
administration's gonna do with schools and stuff because they bugging, but
Yeah. We can talk more about it, but it gives you a different freedom. And I think that
mhm.
freedom is necessary. Um, okay, so these are our last and our wrap questions. The
All right,
first thing that comes to your mind. All
gotcha.
right. What is your favorite scent smell?
It's one word.
Is the shit though for real though?
Oh no. Charlie.
Okay.
These are my favorite scent. Um,
Yeah, scent. You gotta have it.
Popcorn, freshly
Okay.
popped
I'll
popcorn.
take it. Okay. I'll take it. I take it. I take it. I take it. What is the one author that you're reading now and why? Or who is the one author you're reading now and why?
John Keane. Uh,
Mm,
because I gave myself a challenge. John Keane.
mm, good stuff. Mm. What would you go back and tell your younger self?
Uh, don't wait for Marika Jones. Don't go to the Navy. Play football, dog. Um, accept that school offer. Uh, fight back.
Mm, Mm,
Hit them boys and you got. Oh yeah, yeah. That's more than one word. That'd be a minute.
mm,
I got a
mm.
few things for a few versions of me. Biggest thing would be like stand up for yourself and quit worrying about what's outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is the one person that you've always tried to please?
Oh God, my mother.
Mm,
That's easy. My mother and my son.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Apples or oranges?
Neither. Let's talk about Tic Tacs and orange Tic Tacs.
You okay, then you have to give a fruit.
I have to pick a fruit.
Something.
I
No
I
apples or oranges.
I do not like a single article of fruit.
Ah,
I'm that weird person. I don't like fruit. I'm allergic to half of
okay,
it. Another half smells weird to me.
okay,
Don't I
okay.
don't know where it comes from.
If you only had one poem that you could read for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. One poem I could read for the rest of my life. I don't remember the title of it, but it's from Residence Earth by Pablo Neruda. Um, yeah, it's a love poem. I believe it's a love.
Mm,
I've taken a love poem that he has in there. Talking to his wife, he compares her heart to an artichoke, and he discusses growing an artichoke in their backyard and eating it fresh out the dirt.
mm.
And I quit writing love poems after that.
Last
Yeah.
question.
Hmm.
5 words that you would tell your future self.
5 words. My future self.
Future self.
Ooh. Uh, thank you for not stopping.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And thank you for not stopping for us, right? You breathe life into us as well. Thank you for being a guest on In the Beginning podcast, and we definitely have to have you back on. This was definitely not enough time. You have so much in it,
Yeah.
and it's so rich. Like I couldn't even believe that we was already here at the time. But this has been a joy and a treat, and I know the listeners are going to enjoy it as well. Thank you so very much for being on.
No, thank you, love. I appreciate you.